Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continuing part 3. How many persons present were not here for part 1 and 2? Or part 1 or part 2? I need to do a little review, right? We're going to do a little review. Like really little. Because this is full time this evening to cover. The subject matter is taken from Canto 3, Chapter 29. That's Kapila Dev instructing his mother Devahuti. And the title of the chapter is Explaining Bhakti Yoga, Explaining Devotional Service. And the flow of the chapter that we've discussed so far goes from the very beginning till verse 28. So a little review. In the beginning of the chapter, Kapila Dev explains what devotional service is. Then he gives a definition of pure devotional service, very beautiful verse. And then following that, he explains what's the sadhana to get to that stage of pure devotional service. And then he reiterates that those who have attained this stage, they no longer have any hankering or lamenting, same as Bhagavad Gita. Nasochati nakangsati, neither hankering nor lamenting. And to illustrate, he says, the one verse is, that even if the Supreme Personality of Godhead offers them any one of the 5 kinds of liberation, they decline. They don't want for themselves. They want for the Supreme Lord. And then there's 4 verses, 21 through 24, that discuss the obstacles in achieving that, of pure devotional service. And it's not specific in Srila Prabhupada's purport, but it's very specific and very pointed in the commentaries of 2 of our acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. They explain it thoroughly. And the essence of those obstacles is envy. And though in those 4 verses, it's shades of or degrees of envy. Just like today, it was a cloudy day. Looked like it was getting ready for a thunderstorm or something. And then it cleared. The sky was clear and it was nice. Same sun, same sky, but clouds block the sun. Similarly, there are obstacles. Envy, one of the foremost of the obstacles, is blocking. It has the power to block the power of bhakti. Our subjective experience is diminished by that obstacle. We're going to hear more about that today and going forward. So then, starting with verse 25 through 27, 25, 26, 27, 28, Kapila Dev gives the remedy. And that's a large part of what we did yesterday. The remedy is very simple. In principle, respect is the remedy for envy and the shades of envy. So then that's going to be, that is the topic of the whole chapter, respect. At least that's the focus that I've taken, because the earlier verses speak the same thing. And so this is part 2 or part 3, offering respect and receiving blessings, the cause of success in all spheres of life. The cause of success in all spheres of life, the implication of that statement is, even in the Artha Shastras, like Chanakya Pandit's teachings, Artha Shastra is how to prosper. Teachings of how to prosper, how to get stuff, prosperity. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So Chanakya Pandit is one of the leading persons in that category of Artha Shastra or Artha texts. And in his Chanakya Niti, he's going to describe this principle of offering respect and how offering respect can bring success in all spheres of life, material, spiritual, both. Okay, so that's an overview. There's details, but this is where we're going to begin. This is Indra, a painting of Indra having very deep sorrow for having offended his guru. And the verse is Canto 6, Chapter 7, Text 23. So what happened was, in Indraloka there was a big festival. There was a festival to honor Indra. And Indra was on a big seat, and various, because he's the king of heaven, so various demigods had come, and they were honoring the king of heaven. And much to everybody's surprise, in came Brihaspati, the priest, the guru of all the demigods. And many of the demigods immediately paid their obeisances, and Indra didn't. And seeing that display of pride, Brihaspati didn't say anything. He just turned around and walked away. The verses that follow describe when Indra realized what he had done. This is he's very sad, very sorrowful, and he makes a number of statements in front of the entire assembly. In front of the entire assembly, he says things like, "Fie on me, I'm such an offender. I have so much wealth and so much power and so much position and so much this and that, but it's caused me to fall from my position." Then he's several other things. He knows he's in for a big reaction for his neglect of his spiritual master. If a person says that one who is situated on the exalted throne of a king should not stand up to show respect to another king or a brahmana, it is to be understood that he does not know the superior religious principles. So that's a superior religious principle. If you offer respect to a brahmana or a king or one's guru. And here's from the purport. This is 6, 7. Short purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this regard that when one is president or king sitting on his throne, he does not need to show respect to everyone who comes within his assembly. But he must show respect to superiors like his spiritual master Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. There are many examples of how he should act when Lord Krishna was sitting on his throne and Narada fortunately entered the assembly. Even Lord Krishna immediately stood up with his officers and ministers to offer respectful obeisances to Narada. This is in Dwarka. Narada knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna knew that Narada was his devotee. But although Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Narada is the Lord's devotee, the Lord observed the religious etiquette. So that the theme is Vaishnava etiquette and the role of respect in Vaishnava etiquette. Since Narada was a brahmachari, a brahmana, and an exalted devotee, even Krishna, while acting as a king, offered his respectful obeisances unto Narada. Such is the conduct visible in Vedic civilization, a civilization in which the people do not know how the representative of Narada and Krishna should be respected, how society should be formed, and how one should advance in Krishna consciousness. A society concerned only with manufacturing new cars and new skyscrapers every year, then breaking them to pieces and making new ones may be technologically advanced, but it is not a human civilization. A human civilization is advanced when its people follow Chaturvarnyam system, the system of the four orders of life. There must be the ideal first-class men to act as advisors, second-class men to act as administrators, third-class men to produce food and protect cows, and fourth-class men who obey the three higher classes of society. One who does not follow the standard system of society should be considered a fifth-class man. A society without Vedic laws, we'll be discussing, I don't think it's today, I think it's tomorrow, the distinction between form and essence. Laws is form, and essence is the feelings of love. And they go together. But some persons that just neglect the laws and regulations of Vedic society will not be very helpful to humanity. As stated in this verse, Dharmam te na param vidu. Such a society does not know the aim of life and the highest principle of religion. That's the Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse. And that points us in the direction of what we want to talk about. Yesterday, we saw this little diagram that's on the left, and it's like, a pretty skinny tree. But the tree was used to illustrate a teaching of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or the teaching of the Vedas that was expanded by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and that is things that are unwanted, anarthas, things that are abhadras, things that are unwanted. The root of them is avidya, or ignorance. We spent some time on this. And then the tree that has its roots is in ignorance. And then there's branches of the tree. Just 4 little branches are described. Raga and Dvesha. This is review. Raga and Dvesha, attraction and repulsion, or liking and hating, affinity for and repulsion from. Raga Dvesha. Then Abhinivesh, we're going to hear more about this, so pay attention. Abhinivesh means deeply absorbed in trivial pursuits. And then conceited, egoistic pride, asmita. If you remember from yesterday, we heard the description, Bhaktivinoda Thakur broke down this. Avidya leads to offense. And we saw a chain of those 4 categories of things that lead to offense. I don't want to go through yesterday's class. But that's the root problem. The root, the avidya root, has its manifestation in false ego. The root problem, the real problem, that which eventually generates an array of other problems in our life, is bodily identification, avidya. That's ahankara is the name, but it's a very strong force of ignorance. This ignorance results in natural development of animosity, envy, and malice towards other living beings. Going back, I'm going to review. This is repeating. This is taking a look at Lord Kapila Dev's teachings from another lens, through another lens. So Kapila, in describing the practice, the sadhana that leads to pure devotional service, one of the items in those 4 verses included deity worship. And it's an important part of sadhana bhakti, engaging in deity worship, archana, deity worship. But one who engages in deity worship but doesn't acknowledge and doesn't respect other living beings, only respects the deity and other living beings can exist or not exist, then he, Kapila Dev, labels that as pretentious bhakti, not real bhakti. And the cause is envy. And then he goes through the 4 other ones. So envy is our focus of attention because we'll see why. This quality of matsarya, which is another name for envy, is our main obstacle. So here's a fellow looking in the mirror, and surrounding him are anger, greed, envy, and unwanted things. Most likely all of us here have heard these 6 many times. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, or the 6 enemies of a living entity. Each of them have a little diagram. Fire is the logo for lust. Krodha, the lightning bolt. Lobha, greed, etc. Now, these are one of the places these are identified is from the teachings of Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur, in our disciplic succession, came right after Jiva Goswami. In fact, he was one of 3 principal students of Jiva Goswami. And he wrote some literatures based upon those teachings of bhakti. And here's what he writes. Prema Bhakti Chandrika. I'll engage my lust. So of these 6, 5 of the 6 can be engaged in Krishna's service. I will use my lust in eagerness to serve Krishna, and I will use my anger against those who are envious of the devotees. I will be greedy to hear the topics of Hari in the association of devotees. I will be illusioned if I fail to achieve my worshipable Lord, and I will feel proud to chant the glories of Krishna. In this way, I will engage them, that's 5 of the 6, in their respective duties. So here's a chart teaching the same thing. These are the 6, and 5 of them can be repurposed or redirected. Anger is an easy one. I mean, in one sense it's easy. Prabhupada speaks of anger being engaged by Hanuman when he burned Lanka because of what Ravana had done to offend Lord Ramachandra and Sita, and was unable to hear anything because he tried, and he tried. So he became angry, and he burned Lanka. Or Arjuna, Prabhupada's explanation is Krishna incited Arjuna to become angry because you can't fight without being angry. So he incited him to be angry because he wanted him to fight. And he did. So it's anger or krodha can be engaged in towards those who obstruct the path, or those who are offenders to the Supreme Lord, etc. Greed can be applied to spiritual knowledge, etc. So all five are the ones on the left, but the one on the right, there's no place to engage envy in service to Krishna. Matsarya has no place in spiritual life. So different ways of translating Matsarya: envy, malice, jealousy, very similar. And the nature of this envy is it's like those thorns that wrapped around the heart, they don't allow the heart to feel properly. Envy destroys the very heart of the living being. That's the inclination to love. We'll hear more about this as we go forward. The nature of love and bliss. They're very, very simple. We all have an inclination to love. It's true. We want to love and be loved. That's living entities. This is a natural inclination. It is directly related to ananda, the experience of bliss. When we love someone, we experience bliss. And then there's spiritual, fully transcendental bliss that's different than the material kind. But this enemy, Matsarya, destroys even the hope of love, and thus makes a person utterly unhappy. It's the antithesis of bhakti and the happiness of within bhakti. Here's Socrates' words. Envy is the ulcer of the soul, eroding inner peace. Another graphic. At the bottom, envy makes a person utterly unhappy. Same point. So our natural inclination is to love, but envy destroys the inclination to love. So it makes us utterly unhappy. So envy is not a nice thing, and we want to minimize it. So how to weaken this enemy of envy? Looks like heart surgery over there. So the antidote that's described is respect. Medicine. When there's a poison or something, then you give the person an antidote, replacing envy with love, and the way to get there is respect. And at least it's in the beginning. And gradually, as respect becomes a way of life, as opposed to envy as the way of life, it removes or weakens the tendency of envy in our hearts and allows us to genuinely engage in spiritual practice. Vedic society was grounded in a culture of respect. This is very evident, and then it's a matter of understanding it and then going in that direction, cultivating respect. This envious tendency, in its various forms, hinders one from truly experiencing the strength of spiritual practice. So we discussed this yesterday. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he cites a particular Sanskrit word that says, or it means, this envy weakens the effect of bhakti upon the individual who is experiencing or subject to envy. Bhakti is pure. Bhakti isn't weakened. Our experience of it is weakened. Just like this example of clouds in the sky. The brilliance of the sun is the same every day, but our experience is different depending upon what's going on up in the sky, the clouds in the sky or other objects of interference. A person may appear to perform sadhana, but practice laced with envy lacks the power to transform the heart. We discussed this yesterday. There's an experience that some devotees have who have been practicing bhakti for X number of years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and they may feel, whether they say it or not, I'm not making so much progress. This was one of the themes at our japa retreat. It became so prominent by doing japa retreats for years. Devotees were saying, you know what, I don't feel I'm making much progress. Some would say otherwise. But, in introspection, I have an expectation by sadhana bhakti, I'm going to get on the other side of my contaminations and then feel closer to Krishna. But supposing one doesn't feel that. So why? That there was a seminar given for a whole weekend just on that topic. Still chanting, still reading, not much progress. It can happen. It happens. Because the power of bhakti is diminished. Our experience of the power of bhakti is diminished by these contaminations. And again, the root of envy, so we can say it's a manifestation of ignorance, but then it's arrogance. Of these, this is from the first day, of those coverings of the soul, or the layer of envy covering the soul, is manifest as avagya, or a condescension, a kind of haughtiness of oneself towards others, thinking of oneself better than others and looking down on others. Envy and malice begin subtly with arrogance and a sense of superiority. Same message, avagya. We look down on others, striving to be number one. Even being second feels unacceptable. I mean, what's going on in these Winter Olympics, because it's all over the news, all over the media. Poor people that have an expectation and that something else happens. They're not number one. Whatever. And it's like very fierce. Besides, there's monetary rewards for those who are number one. There's all kinds of other pride and prestige and honor and distinction and all those not so nice things that come to one who is number one. The ego-driven mindset creates an environment where only the top position is valued. Here's a saying by Julius Caesar. You all know Julius Caesar. It was like the lead guy in the Roman Empire. It's better to be the first man in a village than the second man in Rome. Don't be second, be first. That's Julius Caesar. It's not everybody, but it's him. So the recommendation then is, don't be in the worldly ideal, be in the spiritual ideal. Become the last. Or push others forward. And that's what we're going to be hearing about. This is Kapila speaking to Devahuti. A little background is it's a palace. And the palace was created by the husband. Who was Devahuti's husband? Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was a mystic. He was very austere mystic. His mysticism, his practice of yoga was in the forest. And he was a very intense personality. And she, Devahuti, the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, she heard about him, and she became very attracted to him. And she made the request of her father to make an arrangement for her to marry Kardamuni. And when the proposal was made to Kardamuni, his answer was yes, on one condition: that when there's a son elderly enough to look after Devahuti, I'm going to go back to the forest. She consented. They were married, and Kapila became their son. A form of the Lord became their son. And before that happened, Kardamuni was so powerful with his mystic power. Kaboom! He made a palace. He didn't have to get a construction company. Just kaboom! There's a palace. And that's where Devahuti had as a place to stay. And there she is with Kardamuni went back to the forest. There she is with just her son. Of course, she has her father, Swayambhuva Manu, and her two sisters. But Kapila Dev is giving her instructions, and she's asking fantastic questions, and he's giving super fantastic answers. And this chapter 29 is towards the end of his whole discussion. We're going to spend a little bit more time on verse 26, because there's words in verse 26 that we're going to focus on. One of those words is mrityu, another is binadrisha. We touched on this before, but we're going to expand on it now. So, the problem of death and the problem of alienation. Alienation is an interesting word. It's where one feels bina. One feels oneself separate from the source. And then separate from the source means separate from others. And even when we're with others, we still feel alienated from others because of this bina drisha. And it's a fundamental human problem. Death is one, and alienation is another. Worldly suffering is a contradiction to the nature of the soul. That is, we want to live forever because we live forever. It's not, the soul doesn't depart, it doesn't die. So we want to live forever. The same way, and not less deeply, we craved closeness because we're created for love, to feel close and feel ourselves as part of a whole. That's natural. And then the other is very unnatural. Although we're created for love, we experience profound loneliness, even next to our loved ones. In the world, there's a lot of negative emotions, and loneliness is a big one. It's not number one, but it's a big one. So much so, some years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, in the UK, they spent so much money dealing with people that were feeling lonely that they created a ministry of loneliness. They figured they could spend less money with prevention than cure. It's a big problem, big, negative emotion. And where does it come from? Well, there's the endless loneliness. There's a poet, a lady, not the lady that's in the picture. This is a movie portraying what her poetry had to say. Here's one of her poems. There's her name. She's a Russian lady. I'm drinking to a ruined home and to my life in hell, to us together, yet alone, and to you, too, as well. Now, it rhymes, but, this is just a translation from Russian. I don't know how it worked out that it rhymes. This together yet alone feeling, the loneliness feeling, endless loneliness feeling, it's a wish for love, but the experience of the absence of love. So that's, the ego and the mind not cooperating with the needs of the soul. And so alienation, and in different generations it's stronger. or weaker, but it's a big problem. There's the people having a party in the background and the lady in the front that she's feels alone. That's this bina drisha. Kapila Dev explains it. There are these two, mrityu and bina drisha. Mrityu is death. Bina drisha means one who feels separate from all others and is isolated. It's very unfortunate. One who has this bina drishti feels I'm special, I'm separate, all by myself. And here's the Sanskrit of the verse. At the top, Atmanascha parashyapi ya karoti antarodaram. Now this odaram is, the actual word is udaram, and the way that Prabhupada is translated in English is body, but many of you know, well, yes, many of you will know Rupa Goswami's writings, Upadesh Amrita. He indicates that there are 6 pushings. Vacho Vegam, Udara Pasta Vegam, that's the Udara word, the belly. So we're going to be hearing about belly. Because previously, that's a problem. The remedy is feed other people first before yourself. Not being charitable, but even when there's a circumstance where persons are taking their meal, it's nice to take meals together, but it's also to see that other people have their needs looked after. And then Bina Drisho and Mrityur. Very interesting graphic. Here's the translation. As the blazing fire, this is text 26 from chapter 29. As the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook. There's been a drisha, differential outlook. As the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook. So differential outlook is an interesting English phrase. The separatist. Another way of saying it. What does he literally say? So this antar udaram, literally meaning his stomach, one who makes even the slightest difference between his own stomach and the stomach of another person, this individualist is destined for death. So, in love, one wants to see the beloved, in this case, mother and a child. The mother is very happy. Look at her big smile, the mother, and feeding her little child. The child looks pretty happy, but she's really happy. Because we may not feel like that. We may not have had that experience when we were little. And therefore we may be thinking, as the separatist is thinking, what about me? Who's going to take care of me? No one's going to take care of me. Surely no one will take care of me if I don't take care of myself. And persons live their life that way, taking care of themselves and not considering the feeding of others. So these two, fear of death and alienation, they're deeply related. So we're going to spend a little bit of time of how to deal with these two problems. We start with faith. Now, faith in what? So everybody has faith in something. When you walk across the floor, you have faith that you're not going to fall into the basement. You can't live without faith. It's just this part of life. So faith in what? So faith in something higher. We already have, we're going to hear something further. Mana and Dana. We had this yesterday? Yes. Divyananda. Mana means offering respect, looking up to someone. The mind looking up to someone. And Dana is charity. Giving charity, giving something to somebody that has less than what we have, we give charity. And those are antidotes for this feature of pride in the heart. You look up to someone, it diminishes your pride. You give in charity to a person who's less fortunate, because where did you get what you have? You got from the Supreme, from God. So let me be an agent of distributing that which belongs to God to others. So it diminishes pride. Those two. So similarly, we need to change the vision of these two and see the world differently. The main theme, like big overarching theme of the whole chapter, is the necessity of seeing the connectivity of all things with the source. Very simple. That's Bhagavad Gita and Ishopanishad. It's Vedic understanding. There's a source, and that source in Vishnu Tattva feature, Vishnu means he who pervades everything. So is there somewhere where there's no supersoul? He's within every atom, between every atom, within the heart of every living entity. He's Vishnu. He's everywhere. But one who doesn't see that, they may feel alone because they don't see that. They don't feel it. So the beginning here is faith. An interesting etymology is there's a Russian word for faith called vira. And it comes from a Sanskrit word which we're going to hear something further about. Varatra. Varatra literally means a safety belt. Specifically the word, some of you may know this term. When you're riding an elephant, you need something to go around the torso of the elephant and that little place that you sit up on the top of the elephant, that which holds you in place. That's a varatra. It secures a rider on an elephant. And our journey in this world is more dangerous than riding an elephant. Faith is the safety belt that secures us, keeping us safe from the problems that we will encounter. So faith in what? Because you have faith in something. It's intrinsic to life. Faith in the Supreme. Here's a question that came yesterday. Where is she? Huh? No. Sorry, where is she? Huh? Where's your wife? Where's your wife? She went to pick up your daughter. Okay. So she's missing out. You can tell her about this one. There was a question. We have tendencies. How do we overcome these tendencies? Is it just do bhakti and you overcome tendencies, or do we have to strive to overcome those tendencies? So the answer is both. There's effort and mercy. That was our little discussion. This is a little graphic that shows that unconscious tendency is the bottom of the iceberg and it's dark. I'm number one, I'm better, etc. That avagya, looking down upon others. It's an unconscious tendency. It's an envy that accompanies getting a body. Prabhupada, I like this story. Prabhupada tells the story about an experience he had when he was a young boy, that even a pauper is proud of his penny. And the circumstance was his father from Calcutta was taking him regularly, annually, to the Jagannath Rath Yatra. So there's a train that goes from Calcutta to Puri, north to south, and then back again. So when and from time to time trains stop, and then the passengers can get out and move about, and there's people on the what do you call it? Platform. Thank you. And then you'll go and buy stuff, limcas and whatever else you want to buy. So Prabhupada got down, and he was walking around, this little boy, and he saw this elderly, the very poor couple, not elderly, very poor couple, and they had a burlap bag, a burlap cloth, and they were laying out some discarded pieces of wood, and meticulously, like a pauper counting his pennies. Their wealth was their accumulation of discarded pieces of wood. And the Prabhupada said, from that I could understand even a pauper is proud of his penny. What's the value of discarded pieces of wood? But that's it. That's what they had. They were proud of it. So that's an unconscious tendency. These two, pride and envy, are like twins. And then there's the conscious position. And the conscious position is, whatever I have, let me be charitable and give to others, and let others go higher than me. Not just give, but let others go higher than me. We're going to see a nice example of that. We have an unconscious, this down below, automatic tendency to look down on others, avagya. It comes with getting a body. We should transfer this unconscious tendency to the conscious position. That's the effort. To do that requires mercy. We can't just do it on our own. And what's that conscious position? I should give way to others. Let others go in front of me. I need to help others become higher than me. In this way, we can gradually solve the problem. The problem of disrespect and feeling avagya. This is a very nice painting. I like this painting. It's illustrating a pastime. It's not in one of the main, the pastime is not described in one of the main biographies of Lord Chaitanya, but Advaita Prakash. There's this description of a peer of Nimai Pandit as a young brahmachari teacher, brahmana teacher. He was very, very, very accomplished in teaching Vyakarana, Sanskrit grammar. He was like so good, he had many, many, many students. So one day, he came to know that a friend of his named Raghunath Shiromani had written a commentary on Tattva Chintamani, which is at that time at least, Nava Nyaya text. And Raghunath Shiromani was also a Brahmana, and he was like really ambitious. And he wanted to make his commentary the best. So he would be his fame, his notoriety as a young Brahmana. However, when he found out that Nimai Pandit has already written a commentary, look at him, poor fellow, he was very sad. So recognizing that the poor fellow was very sad, Nimai Pandit just tossed his commentary into the Ganges. And in course of time, as they both matured, Raghunath Shiromani became a celebrated scholar for his commentary. Because in Bengal at the time, scholarship was very prominent, and he was a hero because it was a superlative commentary. And in Dvaita Prakash, besides Nimai not having an interest in competing with his friend, he considered later in his life it's inconsequential. Nyaya is not conclusive. You're never going to understand the absolute truth by logic. It's not going to happen. So he abandoned. He had, but he abandoned with that view in mind. This pursuing that kind of academic competitiveness. So academic competitiveness was one, and then the world is filled with all kinds of competitiveness in business, in politics, in sports, in this and that. It's like the culture fosters it, as opposed to others should go first. The Vedic culture. What does respect mean practically? Respect means you acknowledge another as higher and better. No, there's friends, there's peers, so that's also possible. But even with peers, I like the idea. I like feeling that persons who I'm close to, they're very successful. Like we heard already, the opposite was that of Karna. Karna was a condescending fellow and very puffed up. He thought, the Pandavas there, I can defeat all the Pandavas, no problem. He would brag about it. I'll tell a little Mahabharata story. Even before the battle began, who's going to be able to defeat the Pandavas? And Karna stood up and boldly declared, you don't even have to worry about it. I'll defeat all the Pandavas. Grandfather Bhishma stopped him. You're overly proud fool. Don't you know what Krishna has done this and that and the other thing, and he's protecting the Pandavas, and you're going to overwhelm the Pandavas, although they're protected by Krishna? You're a fool. So he was insulted. Said, I didn't want to fight anyways. And Bhima made that a condition. I won't fight on the same side with Karna. You want me to be commander-in-chief? Two things. I won't kill the Pandavas. Because they're protected by Krishna, I can't kill them anyways. And I won't fight on the same side as Karna. There was another idea because of his pride, but the other idea was Bhishma knew that Karna was the eldest of the Pandavas. It was like not just 5, there was 6. And how did he know? Krishna told him, and Narada Muni both told him, confirmed. So he didn't want to see the fact there's between cousins and cousins is one thing, between brothers and brothers is another thing. He didn't want that. So I won't fight. You want me the commander-in-chief? He won't fight. So, when it came to Bhishma has his demise, before the battle began, this is important. We discussed this yesterday, I think. Before the battle began, Kunti decided, I have to tell Karna, you're my firstborn son. And so please side with your brothers. Don't fight against your brothers. Please don't do that. And he refused and gave his explanation. Where were you, my dear mother, when people were treating me with disdain and scorn and calling me bad names, and you're the son of a charioteer, and you're not fit, and da-da-da-da-da. Where were you? Duryodhana, on the other hand, he didn't discriminate like that, and he picked me up, and he's treated me like a Kshatriya, and here I am, the commander. So I'll never be disloyal to Duryodhana. But I make you a promise. You'll always have 5 sons. Because the other 4 sons I won't kill, but Arjuna, it's either him or me, because we're equals. So I'll kill him or he'll kill me. but in other case, you'll have 5 sons. And he kept his word. So, respect means acknowledging that another is higher and better than me. I make an effort to truly see who is better than me. Actually, everyone is better than me, even the worm crawling in my stool. We heard that Vraja story. I sincerely understand this. I do not see myself as possessing good qualities. Thus, I naturally try to give precedence to others. This is an illustration meant to show a Buddhist monk offering respect to the earth. There's a little bird sitting in who knows what that is, a pile of earth or pile of stool, who knows what it is. And humility and regarding others as greater than oneself. That's a spiritual disposition. Here's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes it from his Shikshastaka commentary. You know the verse, Shikshastaka, Amanina Manadena. So taking these two words, Shikshastaka says that in order to constantly chant the holy names, I should be ready to offer all respects to others without any expectation of respect for myself. The qualities which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inspires us to obtain are humility and tolerance. So here's some details on his sense of humility. Humility is a quality which comes from detachment from sense gratification. Interesting definition. Let's explore it. Here's a chart. So on the far right is humility manifests. In the middle is detachment from the senses. And the far left is no desire to enjoy this world. So if there's no desire to enjoy this world, then gradually control the senses comes and humility manifests. To go the other direction, supposing I have an aspiration to enjoy my senses, where's the humility going to have any space in that life? It's not. At best a mix, or at best a shadow of what real humility is. The essence, this essentially means that pride is a symptom of the desire to enjoy. And my way of enjoying is by showing my superiority over others in this world. The opposite of humility, pride. And it's like a law of nature. You turn off the light and it's darkness. Turn on the light and there's no darkness. So this pride and these other dark moods is the absence of seeing the superiority of Krishna, and then thus the superiority of others that have their connection with Krishna. Definition of tolerance. This is, again, we're going Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Shikshastaka commentary. Tolerance is compassion arising from the complete absence of envy and malice. Very nice definition. So, from the very beginning of our path, we should realize clearly the world is not meant for my enjoyment. I mean, it's easy to philosophically understand that, but then practically, how do you live your life where the world is not meant for me to enjoy? When this realization, based on faith, gradually changes our attitude towards this world, then we'll be given tolerance, which is compassion based on the absence of envy. Very logical. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's airtight logic. These things are deep. The interrelatedness of tolerance and compassion. I'll let you think about it. It's deep. It's not superficial. Here's a very nice example of this. This is from Ramayana. And in Ramayana, there's a situation where Ramachandra has been requested by the sages in the forest or being harassed by Rakshasas. You're a powerful warrior. We're Brahmanas in the forest. You're a powerful warrior. Please protect us. He says yes. And Sita has a little soliloquy right in front of the sages. She's not admonishing him, but she's telling a little story. And that the story is that lust generates three primary human vices. So the story is there was a sage in the forest. He found a weapon, and he started carrying the weapon around. And he was carrying the weapon around. He got attached to weaponizing, and he started becoming cruel. Although he was previously a sage, he started harming others without provocation. So Sita is saying, this lust generates three vices. You are not subject to two of them. Here's the three vices. Vyasanas, or destructive vices. 1, falsity or lying. She says, it's not possible for you. I know you. It's not possible for you to tell a lie or give false speech. And pursuing another's wife. That's not you. You're never going to fall prey to that one. But this one, you've just made a pledge to protect the Brahmanas, the sages in the forest, from persons who have not done any harm to you. And you'll keep your word because you keep your word. But then you can be causelessly cruel. So I'm concerned. And Ramchandra smiles because she's not scolding him, but she's giving him a moral lesson. And it's for us, causeless cruelty or harshness can be the result of lust. And here's the same in another image. Inclination to lie because we want to enjoy. Illicit passion because we want to enjoy. Causeless cruelty, the heart becomes hard, malicious, and cruel without provocation. And one of the cruelest features of a living entity is his tongue. Vacho Vegam. The tongue is like a razor. It cuts, hurts, it kills. We heard this whole Karna Parva story. Some of you may not have been with us for the Karna Parva story. We'll tell it quickly. But we're going to finish this slide. It is so incredibly easy to speak a few words and cause deep lasting pain. A mere word can even destroy a person's will to live. We speak destructively so often without even noticing. Therefore, the solution is we should always start from learn to speak respectfully. Now, are there scriptural references to say that one should speak respectfully? Here it is in Bhagavad Gita. Look it up later if you like. Chapter 17, text 15. Speak words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others. That's Bhagavad Gita. It's the same thing in Manu Samhita. Many of you know this phrase. It's a popular phrase. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, not bruyat satyam apriyam. You know that. Divya, you know this phrase? You've heard it before? Okay, I'll say it slowly. Satyam, truth. Satyam bruyat, speak the truth pleasingly. Priyam bruyat, Speak the truth always. Speak the truth pleasingly. Na bruyat. Satyam. Apriyam. Never speak falsity. Or speak in such a word that's not sensitive to are others going to be pleased. There's a second half of this. The second half, it says, by all means, never flatter somebody because it sounds nice. Don't speak lies because it's flattering and people will feel good. So don't do that. Always speak the truth pleasingly. And if it's not, you can't say something nice. Don't say anything at all. That's what my mother taught me. She wasn't Manu Samhita, but she taught. Yeah, Bhagavatam. So this is the way Rupa Goswami emphasizes Vachovegam. We know the Vachovegam verse. That controlling the speech is how the whole thing starts. Self-mastery is to control the urge of the speech. And if you control that urge of speech and eating, then you can control the other senses. That's our teaching. Speech is one of the most uncontrollable urges and the source of most of our suffering. Here's a Chanakya Pandit teaching the same thing. What is one single act by which you can conquer the world? Don't allow yourself to speak badly of others. Remember those 4 stages? And the 4th stage is fault finding. Don't do that. Not only fault finding, don't speak badly about others. It's detrimental to the person who speaks about others to speak badly about others. Does it happen? It happens. And the consequence goes to the one who speaks it. And also it can hurt the person who hears it. This is Chanakya Pandit, Niti Shastra. If you want to influence others, if you want to live a fruitful life, you should never, ever speak badly about other people. Okay, guess what? We're going to have a little breakout session. You know what that means? You get to talk and I stop. So, in a little, some persons nearby you have a small group and discuss how faith has saved us from doing something foolish in the past. Because we're in the process of learning to move from unconscious to conscious by the medium of faith and then proper conduct and effort and mercy. You ready? You understand what we're doing? Find some persons nearby you, and I'll stop speaking. Okay. Are we ready to focus again? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It works. So there's a nice photograph of Srila Prabhupada seated on a very colorful Vyasa sun, I recognized the colorful Vyasa-san because it was in New York, Henry Street Temple. Bhavananda had a flair for like flashy colors, and it was his creation. Here's devotees paying their respect to Prabhupada listening very carefully to someone speaking something. So we spent some time discussing respect of Guru and spiritual superiors. We're also going to spend some time respecting seniors and elders. And the place we're going to go is Chanakya Pandit and the Varnashram system, both. Each of us wants to be a kind of king, to have some sphere of control, some area of power, some influence over others. The desire is not bad if we understand that this may be an area of our service where we have some authority. So Artha Shastra, this is now Chanakya Pandit. What Artha? Prosperity. Shastra, or teachings that tell us how to prosper. How can, just like the verse that we read this morning in the Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, verses 2 through 7, is if you want this, you do this. If you want that, you worship that one. You want, how to get what you want and prosper in this world, material. So there's a way, according to Artha Shastra, how you can conquer the world or bring others under their influence, and that's the answer is sense control. So here's Chanakya Niti, or how to prosper, Artha Shastra. And he takes this word for humility, Vinaya, which has a broader meaning than just humility, good breeding, discipline, sense control. So here's how it works. There's respecting of superiors, that's like at the root. Here's a little diagram. There's the root of the tree. At the root of the tree is service and respect to superiors. This is Chanakya Pandit's teaching. And from that root comes humility. You respect superiors and serve superiors or seniors, and it enhances and strengthens your capacity, one's capacity, or culturally, the capacity of culture to be capable of being humble and disciplined. When you're humble and disciplined, then you can have sense control. And when you have sense control, then that's part of the tree, then the tree starts producing nice fruit. And the nice fruit, one of the nice fruits is to know who you are. And then the higher than knowing who you are is to know the Supreme. And the root is service to superiors or seniors. Here's his description with all the Sanskrit. One who has his senses under control can bring others under his influence. That's the principle. The root of sense control is Vinaya. That's the trunk of the tree. And then the sense control is the branches of the tree. So there's the Sanskrit that in Chanakya's teachings. The root, the moolam, is this humility. And how do you get that humility? By serving elders and superiors and guides and seniors. Don't do that, it's distracting. So here's the Sanskrit phrase. And the service to seniors, it's nice. The result of serving superiors, the seniors or the person becomes capable of attaining spiritual knowledge or the ability to comprehend the soul. And one who has the ability to comprehend the soul, he may come to realize the Supreme Soul. And one who becomes knowledgeable, Atma Jitatma, one who has perfected himself becomes self-conquered, and one who is self-conquered has everything. Sarva Artha. You have material and spiritual well-being. So what's the root? Serve superiors. It's culture. Just a little sharing. This was first presented in central New Jersey, and then again in Naperville. Now, this is the third time. So 2 of those times there was a very nice devotee named Nandi Mukhi, she grew up in China, and China have abundance of teachers that don't teach about God, but they teach about proper conduct and control of the senses and respecting superiors. It's a very essential part of Chinese culture. Confucius teachings and so many other teachings. So she could understand very well, what Chanakya Pandit is saying, because it's just standard stuff for people who are cultured. They may not have spirituality, but they have culture. So the culture is a great asset for those who want to become spiritual. Say it the other way. Supposing one is not cultured, you want to become spiritual. You're a bull in the china shop. And it happens sometimes, doesn't it? People come to our temple, they want to be spiritual, and they don't have culture. And they, don't behave so nicely. They cause a little commotion. And then new people come and see that going on. They go like, whoa, I don't know if I want to be part of this. It happens. So, we'll do it again, just slowly. The root is respecting and serving superiors. That promotes the sense of humility and, and self-discipline. I don't do and want them anything I like. I put as a priority serving seniors and superiors and elders. And one who can do like that creates, it strengthens humility and it strengthens sense control. I know what to do, what not to do based upon that alignment that comes from. And those superiors, what happens when a superior is respected, especially a wholesome superior? They give blessings. They give wisdom. They give understandings of how this younger person who's respecting them can live their life and be successful. Wisdom is imparted by elders, at least potentially. Depends on the elder. And because some elders have a misunderstanding of things, but some have wisdom. And then they pass it on, and it leads to elevation of the modes of nature, and elevation of consciousness, self-realization, realization of God. Here's 2 stories that depict how this is true. It's very nice stories. And we'll start with the sage Mrikanda. Who's the sage Mrikanda? He had a son named Markandeya Rishi. And Markandeya Rishi is described in the 9th canto of 12th canto Bhagavatam. But we'll tell that shortly. His life is also described in the Padma Purana and Shiva Purana in the following way. The same person, Markandeya Rishi. So his father, Mrikanda Rishi, had a son. And when the son was born, his astrological chart said he's going to die when he turns 16. And Mrikanda, being a sage, wanted to know more. Is this like a lighter kind of karma, or is it a very serious kind of karma? So we'll see Dhrita karma. There's, in the chart, there's 3 categories. There's Dhrita, not very serious. It's some karma that's easily changed. And then down below, there's karma that, with great effort, can be changed. And then there's, at the bottom, there's drita karma. Not druta karma, but drita karma. Karma that even with gemstones and mantras and rituals, it's karma that's not going to change. So that's what Rakanda Rishi said. He was told by the astrologer, your son is going to be in this third category, an outcome that can't be changed. So what did he do? The father advised the son, my dear son, please, whenever you meet anyone senior, sage or elder, go to that person, fall at their feet, bow down to them with great humility, and seek their blessings. So the son was very obedient, and that's exactly what he did. And in Vedic culture, commonly, those of you that are familiar with this phrase, Ayushman Bhava, may you live a long life. You know, Krishna Matirastu, that's a Vaishnava one. But may you live a long life, just anybody. So the son got into it. He really, became attached. Very sincerely, he would run after people and grab their dhoti and fall at their feet and, please give me your blessings. And then he would hear the same thing again and again. Ayushman Bhava. So he did that until he was 16. And when he was 16, sure enough, Yamaraj came to take him away. But he had so many of these blessings from sages and elders, he couldn't take him away. So he was very concerned. Who stops death? Because he's supposed to die. And I'm being stopped by this blessings of the elders and sages. So he decided to take it to court. The judge of the court was Lord Brahma. So there he is, pictured here, with his scepter, and coming before Lord Brahma, and he's going to plead the case with Lord Brahma. But before he got a chance to plead his case, the boy fell at the feet of Lord Brahma, sought blessing for Lord Brahma, who said, Ayushman Bhava. And that was it. He didn't die. In fact, according to these two Puranas, he's still alive today. Now, how that happens in the Srimad Bhagavatam is a little different. We find this narration in chapter 8 and 9 of Canto 12. And you know what happens. Here's what happened. In the water of devastation, he's still alive, floating around with his big beard and, looking over the banyan tree, and he sees on this banyan tree, there's a little blue boy sucking his toe. And he knows who that little blue boy is. And he's trying to get the little blue boy's attention because he's just floating around in the water of devastation. The little boy looks at him, smiles, sucks his toe, pulls the toe from his mouth, and inhales. And the whole water of devastation and Markandeya Rishi goes into the body of the little blue boy until it's time for creation, and he exhales and he comes out again. The next creation, he has a long duration, Markandeya Rishi. It's different narration because this is the Bhagavatam and that's, Padma Purana and Shiva Purana. But that was a way that his father understood he could overcome a karma that's not to be broken by blessings of great personalities. So now, circling back to something where we started the very first class, we all want happiness. And from Chanakya Pandit's teachings and from the Vedas, people want prosperity. Dharma, artha, and want health, want success, but those things may come by superiors. It's morning's Bhagavatam verse 2, 3, 2 through 7. All the distresses we experience in this world and the failures that overtake us often arise from insufficient favor or lack of mercy from our spiritual authorities or our elders. So if you have proper regard for spiritual authorities and elders, you're going to do much better in life. Here's example number 2. It's a very nice example. Very nice example. You're probably all familiar with it. After Krishna finished Bhagavad Gita, what happened? You know what happened? You want to hear what happened? The warriors on both sides are now ready for war. On the Kauravas side, they were already ready. On the Pandava side, there was, their chief hero, Arjuna, was reluctant. But now they're ready, and they're talking. The Mahabharata describes, war talk. Da 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 da. They're ready to go. Like wrestlers before a big wrestling match or something. Da 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 da. So they're all waiting for the signal to come from Yudhisthira. So all attention goes to Yudhisthira. He's the leader, and he gives a signal, and the battle begins. But what did Yudhisthira do? He took off his helmet, put aside his weapons, laid everything down, and started walking towards the enemy army. And people were scratching their head, wondering, what's going on? But what did Yudhisthira do? He went right to Grandfather Bhishma. And what did he do? He sought blessings from Grandfather Bhishma. Paid his respects, fell at his feet. You see Grandfather Bhishma with a tear in his eye. And he's asking blessings. Please bless me so that I may win. And what did Grandfather Bhishma say? Yes. You will win. The victory will be yours. It's good that you did this. If you hadn't, I would have cursed you, and you would have been defeated. That's in Mahabharata. Of course, he understood he can't defeat the Pandavas because they're protected by Krishna. So what did he do next? He didn't just go right back to his position in the battlefield. Yudhisthira systematically repeated the same thing to all the other commanders. There's the commander-in-chief, but he went to the other commanders. Dronacharya, his military teacher, his guru. And he made the same, fell at his feet, and asked for his blessing that he can be victorious. May victory be yours. Blessings. And then Drona, right in the Mahabharata, says, I want to tell you how you can defeat me. When the one who never lies utters a lie, I'll put my weapons aside. And that's what happened. But there's details and details. Here's one of the details. At a particular stage during the battle, it was getting really, really, really bad. Many of the soldiers on the Kauravas, on the Pandavas side, were being killed. And Krishna was very concerned. He's not the chariot driver, but he's concerned. He's not going to do the fighting, but he's concerned. And so he informed Bhima. You see that elephant over there? The name of the person riding the elephant, I forget his name, but his elephant's named Ashwatthama. Go kill the elephant, Ashwatthama, and then go tell Dronacharya that Ashwatthama's dead. So when he killed the elephant and told Dronacharya Ashwatthama's dead. And Dronacharya said, oh, Bhima, he's a good fighter, but I don't trust him because he saw at a distance there was his son, Ashwatthama. So then Krishna went to Yudhishthira and said, "You got to say this." And he said, "But I've never told a lie." He said, Interesting, if you speak a lie for the purpose of preserving life, it's not lie, that's dharma. You won't be violating dharma. So do it." So he did it. When he heard it, he dropped his weapons and they were able to defeat him right on the spot. But as long as he had his weapons, they couldn't. Then he went to Kripacharya, another acharya, another brahmana on the battlefield for this reason, that reason. And he similarly blessed him and confirmed his eventual victory. Shalya, third person, he went to his uncle, Shalya, and he also blessed him to be victorious. These are generals, commanders in the other army saying, "You'll be victorious because you've come and pleaded for my blessings. You have my blessings." And then he commented, "You may consider Karna already demoralized." So that's the lesson. Second lesson. The most crucial moment of the war was not an act of violence, but an act of respect. And then he went back, picked up his weapons, picked up his helmet, and the battle began. With blessings. To be victorious. Nice. Very nice. But guess what? We just finished. Now, tomorrow, we have a part 2 tomorrow. We'll continue with part 2 tomorrow. But the theme of part 2 is the same as today. By offering respects, previously it was offering respects to spiritual leaders. Now it's just elders and senior persons. They're to be respected also. And by that, the Chanakya Pandit's teachings, that's a way to control develop humility and receive blessings from the wise elders and control the senses and become more capable, elevated in consciousness to be more capable to realize who you are. So spiritual and material well-being comes from this one principle. Can I ask you a question? Okay. Could you give me the reason? You did the right thing. You're not in a hot seat. I'm fanning you. You did very nicely. Why is it you didn't step over her? You were standing and politely, patiently waiting, and then she moved. And then you came and sat down. So my question to you is, let me know, could you have a reason why you didn't step over her? You did the right thing. Can you give me the reason behind why you did that right thing? Yeah, why? Because? And what's disrespectful about it? You're right. You're right. I'm trying to get you to go a little bit further. Here's the further. Want some help? There's super souls within their heart, within her heart, within every living entity's heart. So we don't step over because super souls are within their heart. Do you know a nice example of another example when that happened? Hanuman?
Oh.
You know the Hanuman story?
No.
Yeah? You want to hear a nice story?
Are you talking? I
Here's
don't
a
know.
nice story. Once upon a time, All good stories start with once upon a time. Draupadi, they were in the Himalayas, and she saw a 1,000 petaled lotus flower coming floating down the river. And she took the lotus flower and was admiring it so much, and she turned to Bhima and said, Bhima, there must be more lotus flowers like this upstream. You know the story?
Yeah.
Ah.
And then
So Bhima could go he can go fast because he's the son of the wind god. When he got going higher and higher and higher, he hadn't yet found the 1,000 petaled lotus flowers, but he saw a monkey on the path. Right? Who was the monkey on the path? Hanuman. So you know the story. And he didn't step over him. Hanuman said, I'm so old. Just step over me.
He didn't want to step over him, so
Yeah,
he
he
tried
can't
to
step
move
over
Hanuman.
because super soul is within his heart. It's just like he didn't understand it was Hanuman, but super soul. That's the reason. So now, besides it's disrespectful, now you know why it's disrespectful, and that's the whole theme of what we've been speaking about from Kapila Dev's teachings. We need to respect others because super soul is within the heart of others. Is super soul within his heart? You sure?
Kind of.
You hope so. And so forth. Everyone. So we respect because super soul is present. Supposing you don't respect, that's disrespect. And that disrespect blocks the power of bhakti. So you want to become a nice devotee, right?
Yeah.
So be respectful. Because the opposite is a problem. Your bhakti, you could do lots of chanting and kirtan and whatever all the other nice things, take prasadam and do other nice devotional things that you like, but it's not going to have the same effect if there's disrespect of other living entities, because it's disrespect of other living entities means disrespect of super soul, of Vishnu. That's a problem. So we don't need problems. We want problem free. Okay, let's see if there's some discussion. Oh, you're going to be the microphone carrier. Okay. Comments, questions?
I was just remembering when you're speaking about Chanaka Pandit, I remember what he also said, similar to what you were saying, that everything rests on the tip of the tongue. Whatever you speak, everything's going to have an effect by what it's on the tongue. Whatever you say.
And the tip of the tongue can be razor sharp.
Yeah.
Cut.
Remember. Similar.
Okay. You always have at least 5 things. But you came late. You can catch up. You want to say something or no? Clarification.
We talked in the discussion. In the presentation, it was said that we invite all the seniors, elders to seek the blessings. So I was just contemplating on that. Generally, traditionally, for any kind of festivals, we usually invite the elders in the family or friends or anybody. Come first and bless. So I didn't know the reason for that, but I thought it's because of the elders, the age or something.
Yeah, but there's a reason. But it's culture. Elders are to be respected. Culture. And they can give their blessings, just like we won't step over because it's disrespectful. Be respectful. That respect has its benefits to the ones who are offering respect.
Yeah.
And then the persons who are being respected, besides now they're honored because they're being respected, they can give their wisdom and their blessings to others. And that's protection for the society. The participants in the festival are protected by those blessings. Ultimately, it's Krishna. No, go ahead.
Yes. So sometimes even if there is not a good relationship, but still they invite the elders to
Yes.
give the blessing. So sometimes I didn't know the reason, but today, even though since giving that respect to them, so that brings good auspicious blessings.
Yeah.
And also I have a additional question is
That's
even
a
though
comment.
it doesn't.
You're not asking a question.
No, I'm asking that is that blessing is also okay to receive that? Okay.
Who's upstairs? Krishna.
Okay.
And Krishna will smile. And not respecting, Krishna won't smile.
Okay.
It's for pleasing Krishna. And that's where the blessings come from. Through the person they're distributors of, but the source is Krishna.
So additionally, can I add one more?
Yeah, sure.
So now on the spiritual part side, so when we seek the invite elders or anybody seniors, if they cannot be like on the spiritual platform, like full realization or something. So it doesn't sometimes.
It's a rule.
okay.
It's a rule. Don't tweak it. It's a rule.
Okay. It doesn't matter on that part. Okay.
You want me to say it 6 times?
Okay. Sure. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Yes, in the back.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have 3. I'll start with 1. Coming from an Indian background, respecting elders, we hear so many rules growing up. Don't talk back. Don't sit on the same level. Touch their feet, get blessings.
Yeah.
So many, that's the way we have been brought up. So it's kind
Sure.
of culture. When I started coming to temple here, 20 some years, Rupa Sanatana Prabhu was in the temple, and I saw first time that he was paying obeisances, like a dandavat obeisances to every devotee comes into the temple. I felt very uncomfortable, even for younger people. He was doing it, and all the devotees were doing it. At that time, the practice was not just say Hare Krishna, actually paying dandavats. Like everybody will fall and pay dandavats. And then I asked a devotee, what is the reason they are doing for each and every one, not only the elders. And then the learning was super soul in the heart. They are paying obeisances. First time I heard that, that was my first learning of super soul. So I was just remembering that.
You had 3 things.
Yeah, the other one, Guru Maharaj, paying obeisances, not only for respect and getting blessings, also it's an act of surrender.
Yeah.
Like you're giving up our false ego
Yeah.
in front of a
Well,
spiritual
that's
master.
humility.
Yeah.
That's the trunk that comes from their offering the respect. They go together. Surrendering
And
false
sometimes
ego.
when we don't do that mindfully, it may not have a good experience, like it's just mechanical.
Well, what's not a good experience? We may not get the same effect, but what's the not a good experience? That means like you feel uncomfortable or you feel grumpy or something.
We do it, everybody's doing it mechanically, but not out of...
Okay, but so that's not a bad experience. Imitation. We don't want this little girl other children to imitate this little girl. She's trying to muzzle her mother, and that's not nice. But as soon as I stop speaking, she'll do it again. So, children may imitate, just like, his not stepping over. because it's disrespectful. But, that's okay. So be respectful instead of being disrespectful. But then knowing the reason why, that's even better. So imitation is fine. The preliminary is not mature, but it's fine. And that's little children, good. And supposing the parents are mean or nasty or wild or drunkards or whatever they are, and they'll imitate. Speaking bad words or cursing words or, by association. So imitate is fine from wholesome persons, even if they don't know what it means. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Something I feel uncomfortable about was, when here comes mom and here comes the little child, and we give Mahaprasadam, and she wants the child to pay obeisances, and the child is like doing this, and they push their head into the floor. Like, they're going to want to bow down because their mom pushed her head into the floor. That's not nice. In time, by showing the example, not by pushing the kid's head into the floor. Okay. Something else?
Just one more question.
Yeah.
The envy is, Maharaj was mentioning at the first class and today also, it's not compatible with the love. The envy and the love don't go together. Right? So the first stage of envy, which is a very mild stage, is avigna, looking down on others. Maharaj was mentioning, try to catch yourself at that stage and correct.
Yes.
Otherwise, it can progress to second, third, and fourth stage, and it can be really...
You got it. You have a good memory.
And then also Maharaj mentioned that don't try to justify being envy. Like, I don't know if I understood that correct. Like, sometimes we can be
sometimes envious. Not just being envious, but holding ill feeling and then speaking those ill feelings. And someone may feel justified. What's wrong? I'm just speaking the truth. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just speaking the truth. What's the problem? So they may not say it, but if I feel it, I also feel justified. Because, because there's something wrong with that person over there. Okay?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I have two questions.
Two.
First one, sometimes we are not disrespectable for the elders, but sometimes because of the customs, like currently we are into the Krishna consciousness and we are following some rules and four things.
Yes.
But our elders is not following and they have some other traditions. So
this is family members?
Yeah.
Or friends?
Say family members.
Family members, okay.
And there definitely might be conflict and whatever they are saying, really we're not doing it. Is it disrespectful or right?
From their side or your side?
Say, their side, like they definitely feel we are not listening to their words.
Well, at questions like this, it depends. And what to do, supposing it's over here, supposing it's over there, supposing it's over there. Be respectful. When tomorrow, one of the classes is going to be winning hearts. And when someone, family member or whoever, sees some character improvement in someone that's a family member, their daughter or their son or someone, they see it. And when they see it, they feel good about it. They may not say they feel good about it. I'm going to give an example tomorrow. Here's an example tomorrow. But just responsive to your question. There's a whole series of things that happened like this, but one of them was Brahmananda was one of the first disciples of Prabhupada. And he was from a Jewish family. And he had a brother. And his brother's initiated name was Gargamuni. These two devotees, they were physically big, but he was also, in the association devotees, he was a big devotee. He was a very accomplished devotee. And when his initiation was to take place, it was at 26 2nd Avenue. It was like early. And his mother came for the initiation. And his mother was sitting there looking like angry, like she could burn up the room because her body language was angry. Arms across her chest, sitting in a chair and frowning and glaring. And Prabhupada, it was so obvious, and Prabhupada turned to Brahmananda and said, pay your obeisances. And her mother was uncomfortable. Because you're not supposed to do that. In the Jewish tradition, you don't do that. And so then she looked right at Prabhupada and said, one thing I don't understand is, what do you have against Judaism? What's your reason for disliking Judaism? And she was directed at Prabhupada. And Prabhupada understood the energy that was coming towards him. And he turned to Brahmananda and said, pay obeisances again. And seek blessings for your initiation. He didn't answer her question. Seek blessings for your initiation. And her mother was angry because you took my other son out of college. And here he is, left college, and he's a full-time Hare Krishna guy. And what's his future going to be like? And she was grumpy. And from her perspective, had good reason for it. And in course of time, she became very favorable by two things mainly: the behavior improvements she saw in her sons, both sons, and Prabhupada's grace and purity. During that ceremony, he said, the initiation talk, he said, there is this saying in Bengal that one can tell the nature of the tree by the fruit that comes from the tree. So your two sons, he's speaking to her, your two sons are excellent fruits, so you're an excellent tree. You've produced these two wonderful sons. He was flattering her by flattering the sons. But it was true. And she understood what he was doing, and she understood what he meant. He was not disrespecting her or her tradition, but he was, giving Krishna. So she became, in time, she became very favorable. Now, not everyone's going to become favorable like she did, but she started like really sour, super sour. For example, and then there's other examples and other examples. We'll hear it tomorrow. So that's what to do. And it doesn't always work. But the principle is respect and prashadam, and not this false flattery, not that, but saying things that are true. And then honoring the person. And finding something that they're interested in, and speak about something that they're interested in connected to Krishna. And Prabhupada was expert at that, from people that were inimical. No, they're not immediate family members, but dealing with persons who were immediate family. Children of parents felt, you're taking my son or daughter away from me. You're a competitor. And you're more important to them than I am to them. And I'm their father or mother. So there's different, personal or cultural reasons why somebody may be grumpy. Just continue to be respectful and be of good disposition and serve as much as one can, serve favorably and pleasantly in speech and conduct. It melts hearts. If anything is going to, that's going to. It's Krishna Bhakti that's going to melt their heart. Okay? Yes. Love me, love my dog. You want something further?
I have another question.
You do. Go ahead.
Maharaj, unknowingly, sometimes we may not intentionally hurt the people, but sometimes because of our words or anything,
Yeah.
people may feel.
And therefore, what to do? That's your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Because it's not our intention, but
I got the unknowingly. So, and then, sometimes you'll be able to tell because they'll say or they'll vibe you. And then sometimes they won't say anything. So there's all three and then gradations in between. So what about the ones that you don't even know about? Unknowingly. No indication at all. Prabhupada's answer. Therefore, sincerely, we offer this prayer daily. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam Vaishnavebhyo. So we offer Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We offer our respects. Unknowingly, I may have very well offended persons. You're seeking their favor, their kindness, their forgiveness. And then when it does come to your attention, you explicitly offer some request for forgiveness, and then do some service for that person who may be feeling offended. So you go back to your parents and family members thing. Same, do service. And service, different ways. Nice prasadam. Kind words. Be careful in your speech. Don't make stuff up, but be honest with your appreciation for whatever it is. And if that's not just a ploy, but it's a consistent mood, that's going to impact the hearts of others. They'll see, wow, she's changed. She's not the same, person as before. Whatever's going on, it's good. I don't understand what's going on. I feel uncomfortable with what's going on, but I see the character and quality. That's good. Consistent. Yeah, there was this young fellow over here.
So my question was, humility and tolerance are easy to learn, but they're hard to apply in our daily life. So could you please give us some tips?
Tips.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a simple principle. What's inside comes out. So it's more difficult than the application is that it goes inside. Humility, tolerance, compassion. But if it's inside, so then associate If it's inside, it'll come outside. Associate with those that you feel have that quality and serve those that have that quality. And that quality will become your quality and amplify your quality. And you'll see in their conduct how, the how-to, how they conduct themselves in this, that, and the other circumstance. And then you'll have a nice model, like a role model of, and then you can ask them, here's this situation that I'm dealing with. I'm finding a little challenging to remain humble or to remain tolerant. Could you offer some suggestions? Be specific, and then they can give you a specific response. So, sadhu sangha is a very important elevating principle. So find persons who you feel you can look up to. They're good examples, not necessarily perfect persons, but they're good examples, and serve them and hear from them. Make friends with them, and keep at least keep a circle of a wholesome association like that. Because there's some others that are, what are you going to do when you're going to school or doing, living in the world? There's some people that are not wholesome. What are you going to do? They're there. So have a circle, some persons who you have that kind of relationship with. If you don't, then, find them and be selective, but be proactive. And then hear and serve those two.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I go.
So for my question, is it okay to lie to make someone happy? So for example, someone asks you if you like something, but then you don't like it, but then you know that they'll feel sad, so you just say it's good.
My mouth is still hanging open. Have you heard this phrase? Satyam bruyat, bruyat priyam. You heard that phrase before? The second half is what it says no to what you just said. This is Manu Samhita, and the advice of Manu is, don't tell a lie even if it sounds nice, because you make some friends and influence people. The goal is truth, and truth that's pleasing, but not untruth, even if it's pleasing.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
So is it fine if you don't lie to them,
Yeah.
and then is it fine if they feel sad
Yeah.
and nothing will happen to
Yeah,
you?
but and then nothing will happen
Yeah,
What do you
you
mean?
won't get sin or something
to them or to you
to me, or yeah.
by feeling sad.
No, so if
If you do something that makes them feel sad,
saying being straightforward.
like being a bully or what?
No, instead of lying that you like it and you say it's not that good. If it makes them sad, will I get sin?
Well, the ideal, I'm not sure what you're asking. The ideal is we don't want people to be disturbed. We want people to be not disturbed. We want people to be happy.
Yeah, but what if they get disturbed about what you say?
Well, be careful what you say.
No, so if I can't lie and say
You can't lie.
yeah,
That's a no-no.
so then if I be truthful and say it's not that good to
Find
someone,
something in them that's nice and say that's something that's nice. I like the way you smile.
thank you.
Or, something. I like your haircut. Say something. It doesn't have to be necessarily on topic with some tense thing that you're going back and forth. Just say something nice. And mean it because it's nice. because it's true. So then they can take it however they want to take it, but from your side, you want them to feel you're looking up to them because, as opposed to you're in combat with them because your horns are locked and you're having this battle with the other person, and they're unhappy with you and you're unhappy with them, and so so find something that you appreciate about them and say that.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, simple, and give them some prasadam. That's universal. Okay, you have something? Just waving your arm. Okay.
Maharaj, we have one question from online. Can I ask?
Online, sure.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for the wonderful class. My question is, initially we have immense respect for a person or a devotee, but once we hear or know something that they do, I judge with my limited knowledge and I think it is wrong. Then my mind gets agitated and the respect on the person gets disturbed. How to overcome this, Maharaj?
There's multiple things. The starting point is when you see a diamond or a jewel, it may have some mud, but the jewel doesn't become diminished in its value because it's got mud. See the jewel. So to this person that's asking this question, look within yourself. Am I a perfect person? No. Do I say or do things that may be not so nice or perfect? No. I do those things. Now this here. So the other person, what's at the core of their existence? Are they a spiritual being or not? Yes. And so see that, and then like this question over here, they don't have to be perfect. Respect doesn't have to be only to those who are. We had this whole session. We'll have it again. It's not only to those who are in the stage of perfect, because who is perfect? But if they're representing and faithful to those that are perfect, they're sincerely striving to connect with Krishna and his representative pure devotees, that's nice. Even they're not perfect yet. Like me, not perfect yet. So don't point the finger at another person, point the finger at yourself. Saying, look, who am I to judge? And less than perfect, but are they doing those things that can help them become free from that less than perfect? Yes. And especially if that's the case, they're engaged in bhakti, and that bhakti is going to purify them despite their shortcomings. Me too. So let us try to help one another overcome our shortcomings by respecting and living in devotion to Krishna. I mean, it's culture. So it's a lot of words, but when there's culture, then it happens very quickly. Very quickly. And they don't judge. You know, there's a biblical saying, judge not, lest ye be judged. So, be careful. Be respectful. And respectful of what? Respectful of, fundamentally, their soul, part of Krishna, and Krishna is worthy of respect. And then, so there may be gradations, that's okay. Then respect commensurate with their gradation, but don't lose respect because someone is less than perfect. They say something, do something that's less than perfect. Encourage them, rather, the opposite. Go in the direction of encouraging them in ways that are within your means and within the relationship, to encourage them to become more and more enthusiastic for purification. I mean, I'm thinking of book distribution. uh, do you know Parma Karuna? A disciple of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, book distributor, fanatic. You don't know? Okay. He just sent me something today. He travels all over the place and distributes books at colleges and festivals and things, and sends pictures. Anyway, so he's a very dedicated and also a very intense person. So he is at a particular location today, and there was somebody. He sent me the photograph of the person that for 2 hours was just harassing them, like harassing them. You know, I don't know what was the verbal, but his energy was harass. And Karma Karuna was really frustrated because what could they do? Because they'd do anything and he would harass them, and do nothing, they would harass them. And so what to do? So it's when situations come that are difficult, what's the shelter? That's another answer for this person. Take shelter of something that you know will purify you, and invite that person to do that thing that's purifying for you and them. Read together, go on book distribution together, take prasadam together, do something together that then you can connect on a platform other than they're less than perfect. Purify yourself and them together. And that's nice. That's a very nice response to someone that's less than perfect. Okay. But we have a but to that one.
In your heart there is something that is not.
He wants you to hold the microphone, so hold it.
So something that is not like very clear, something that's holding you, just because something not very
okay.
appropriate.
With something in this kind of category of territory, it depends on the gravity or the darkness of whatever it is, the shortcoming, the less than perfect feature. But the answer is just the same answer. Are you less than perfect? Are you perfect? And if I'm less than perfect, how can I look down upon somebody that's less than perfect? So you regard them for their capacity. Here's a devotee. I'll assume because of the nature of the question, I was looking up to this person, but look, I got close. We had this point yesterday that Prabhupada said, the closer you get, the more you find fault. Did you remember that discussion? You remember that discussion? There were persons who were Prabhupada's servants that lasted for years. There are persons that Prabhupada's servants that didn't last very long at all because familiarity. They got close and they saw something. Look at this. Discrepancy. But was it really a discrepancy? And is that their, so it depends. Don't lose respect. Continue holding respect. And then respect for what? And and according to what level, that's okay. But don't lose respect. Then you're in the soup. You're no better than they are. Right? You remember that one? Remember that one? Bhakti Tirtha Swami telling Prabhupada there's racial discrimination in ISKCON. Remember that one? Not good. But if you're disturbed by it, you're no better than they are. And he understood what Prabhupada was saying, and it's true. So, there's no yeah but. Now, I may decide, because I see someone is stuck, I may decide, and not only they're stuck, but the it's not just a spot on the moon. It's it's something that's toxic, and I'm going to keep a safe distance from that toxicity. But I'm not going to lose respect for the person while I'm keeping a safe distance. You're not digesting it so well, I can tell by your facial expression. You may be thinking of some particular situation, I don't know, but it's a principle. It's a principle, and the principle prevails over details. Okay, way over there on the stairs. And this is going to be a last question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This question I'm asking is on behalf of a friend. So if the question does not make perfect sense, maybe because I don't understand it fully. So
Well, that's a nice preamble.
So basically the question is, before Madhavendra Puri is based on yesterday's class, by the way. But before Madhavendra Puri, was there opportunity for devotees to enter into Goloka Vrindavan pastimes or Madhurya Rasa or anything like that?
This is completely off topic.
Yeah, I know.
Completely. Let's talk about this another time.
Sure,
because
that's okay.
We'll go. Here's a reason that I don't want to go there. Because for however long we've been together, almost 2 hours, all of that will be dissipated because of going into, some other topic. So stay on topic. Another time, this nice topic.
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jai.